Oi, oi. This initial guide or the beginning part will be going over Guest House. Guest House as an early speedrunner will be one of your most baned existences, but honestly, once you get a couple months in, it becomes pretty easy and a breeze. It turns from something that takes like a struggle to get under a half hour to something you can easily do in 15 minutes. Here in this guide very specifically, I'm going to be showing you how to do it in 15 minutes. We're going to get you in and out with a couple of glitches. These glitches, as well as some like early activation triggers, will help propel us forward. Some of these are not the most efficient ways to get it done per se, as you can always like clean up your lines, better pathing, blah, 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 blah. One of the big things with this video, or with this guide, is that I wanted it to be accessible to people on console. So everything on this game is run on 60 frames per second with VSync. So it does limit certain glitches, like there'll be a glitch coming up in this video where we glitch inside of Mia to get faster hits with the axe. Or rather like more registrations of one hit. That glitch inside of Mia, you can go further inside of Mia the higher your frame rate is. So on PC they do have legitimate advantages. This is a great time to also mention 0D, which is essentially the clean or like PC version of the game. This saves, I think it's like 1.5 minutes or some trash like that. It's fine, honestly. You'll never find it to be too much of a worry as a runner unless you're pushing top 10, and even then, currently the records are being broke by several minutes, so I think it's still pretty fine in the current health of the speedrunning community for Resident Evil 7, but it may be a talk they have again. Currently though, both versions, the clean and the dirty or regular version of the game, is in the same speedrun category. Speaking of speedrun categories, this one is, like, the entire run will be taking place within New Game Plus, easy, any percent. That is the most common category, so don't worry too much if all that random numbers and symbols didn't make too much sense. After 2.5 minutes, most of the cutscenes, by the way, in this game are around 2.5 minutes if they're like an average length cutscene. Start of the game is also that. 2.5 minutes in, we're going to go up. We're going to play the game pretty normally. Nothing too out of the ordinary. We just need to get inside the house. I don't do it here because it's pretty RNG. As far as I know still, nobody in the community has figured out a way to get what's called the daddy skip right up here reliably. But essentially, you get slowed down by this like boxed area of the swamp. And if you're looking at Jack in the right way and positioned perfectly, and then some other that we don't know happens, you can get essentially it doesn't cancel your like momentum. So you get to keep moving faster. You actually get to see Jack walk into the wall. It's kind of cool. Saves you about 2 seconds, so don't ever worry too much about it. It's not like Lakitu skip or anything where it's worth practicing because it's early. Here's where we get into one of our first actual interactions with the game. This is going to be our first retry. We were just talking about momentum. This is a perfect time to talk about it. Right at that kryptonite looking pillar is where we are going to be hitting escape and hitting the retry button and just reloading the game. You can do it before you even see the save symbol appear in the top left, and the symbol will still save as long as you're in the right position. Essentially all this does is preloads the area so we don't get any frame rate drops, as well as resets Ethan's momentum, which keeps Ethan moving at his maximum speed. Now he will cancel this momentum once he interacts with something like Major or like slows himself significantly. But there are certain areas where right at the moment where the game would be reloading that area, you can reload it as well to reset Ethan's movement, or momentum rather. Some water. Here we'll get to our first actual glitch of the game. We are going to be skipping an interaction in the water here on the second pillar you go under. a zombie head pops out at you and scares Ethan back. I think it's like anywhere from like 5 to 10 seconds of time save. What we're going to do is we're going to stare hard at the right wall. You'll see how I do it here. And that's it. All you have to do is keep moving to the left and stare at the wall on your right here. And it will completely skip the zombie interaction cutscene. Now, I was a little sloppy. I am a little sloppy on most of the things here. So there are even more time saves available than I may say or even do within the run. We want to pick up the bolt cutters, get the thing off. The quickest way to go about this, as you can see, is the highlighted. It's just a D and then an S if you're on keyboard, or right and then down, down, right, either way. Our first actual menuing is going to come up here. We can technically do it later. Some runners do it a little bit further down Mia's talking line. I like to get it done immediately. We have, by spawning in Ethan's inventory, an email from Mia. That email's cool and everything, but we want that space in our inventory, specifically for the fuse we're going to pick up later. So we want to make sure we clear our email here and then also put our cursor back on the bolt cutters, because the bolt cutters are going to be the next item we use. I also have the game running on Japanese voices because they are, I mean, generally anything but English voice is still faster, but Japanese voice is still, for the most part, the fastest, so you just kind of get used to it. Besides, I'm talking over most of the game. Our next section's going to be where Mia's like kind of having a breakdown on the couch. This will be the first trigger of the game, and I'll have it defined in a second, but essentially there are time saves and there are skips. Skips will actually skip something in the game, obviously. Things like, as we just saw, the zombie head didn't pop up in front of us. We skipped that. What I'm about to get into is a time save. This doesn't actually skip anything in the game. It's just the best position to be in so that the game keeps going forward. Because essentially, Ethan is supposed to wander around and find a door. We're just going to rush to the side of the pillar, which you'll see. And we're going to stand there and trigger, once Mia gets done with her dialogue, Jack ripping her through the wall. It's not an overly important distinction, but just so that you don't get tripped up with my terminology. Trigger versus skip, but trigger uses as little time as possible to cause an event, yet will not skip anything but time waste. What a great way to put that. The dialogue we're going to be looking for is, I don't even remember. There's another door here, I'm sure of it. That right after this. You see me even moving in anticipation. The bathroom trigger, once again, just walk into it and it triggers this next event. Don't worry, it's not a glitch or anything, nothing complicated. All of this section, although it may feel like you can like interact, you just want to do nothing. Even here where you could potentially fight back, fighting back just adds a little bit of extra time, a couple of seconds. You just kind of want to do everything with Mia. You can path toward her or stand still. Seems like it's no significant time difference. I couldn't even test it to like a second difference, even though some people swear by it, so. Maybe so. Maybe if you're just very efficient. Currently though, either path toward her or just stand still there. Here's where we're going to get into two separate routes. If you don't feel confident and you can't find the floor route, go ahead and look in the top corner. That one will allow you to grab some voodoo juice and head back, heal up, and also get Mia up within just like a 2 to 4 second time loss. The ideal way can actually be even faster than you'll see on the main screen here, but this is the best way to set it up. There's going to be a small white mark in the center of our screen. We're going to want to line that up where the hook of the white mark, as you can see them, is at the bottom of our screen. Initially, I will go slightly too far forward. You see that? I went to the top. We want to have that hook kind of lined up nice and right. It's just a feel thing with a lot of these. Follow the guide, you'll be like frames off. You can adjust it from there, and once you get the feel, you'll be good. But if you're struggling, go ahead and do the voodoo juice route and heal up a little bit. Right here is where we could technically glitch into Mia and get some extra hits. Though on 60 frames and on console, it is insanely difficult to glitch into her. On Mia, on the first Mia fight though. Second one, you'll still get in there, don't worry about it. We're going to be looking for the phone. Phone, once again, has a trigger where if you pass what I have marked in blue there, the phone will not trigger until you get outside of it again. But you also have to be walking around, or the game won't interact with you. Or the phone won't let you interact with it, rather. We're already almost done. Couple more minutes. Don't forget your axe here. This is second retry. Once again, just go ahead and retry. The reason you see my thing go is because I'm just holding W when I press escape. So my W, like the forward key, just like spams it a little bit. Right here, we just want to mash E. We want to crack these open with our bolt cutters. Remember, we moved our inventory marker back onto it, so we can just smash E. We don't have to worry about menuing. Grab that fuse. That fuse gets placed to the left, right where the email was. That's why we want the email deleted. It sets up for this strategy here, which isn't super important, but is really nice on the feel. You want to just keep holding left here as you're already moving in that direction, and then click E on the fuse box as you slide by it, and input the fuse. Once again, there's actually no interaction with this cutscene. You can do stuff, you can grab the screwdriver, but even if you don't, you will not die here. You can just kind of chill. This is a good time to grab a drink, hydrate or something during your speed runs. Maybe take a look at whether or not your run is worth resetting. Blah, 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 blah. Though I'd advise not to reset too much in Guest House, unless you're initially learning the game, because the out of bounds glitch is kind of finicky, and likely as a new player you'll struggle on that, and I would probably base your resets around whether or not you get out of bounds. I'll also, on some of the harder glitches in future videos, talk about easy like retries and how like the best way to set up practice for some of these things are, because some of them can be kind of difficult. Like even here, I'll go into the first one. We are going to be glitching into Mia. These are the two positions. Mia will be falling in the second. It will be glitching right into her at that position. On the first one, that's where we're going to line up. You'll see me do it here, but in case you ever want to look back, feel free to just like click through the video and look at the images. You don't have to listen to me talk again. First lineup. And second lineup. And then Mia will fall. Now we want to crouch into her and heavy attack. You just want a heavy attack and then spam light attack after. If you have properly moved into her and positioned, you'll glitch into Mia and your axe will register multiple hits in a single swing. Now we need to trigger our final cutscene of the game. It takes about 30, it takes 30 seconds from when Mia dies. Jack will not grab you if you are not moving and if your back is to a wall though. So it's important to stay moving throughout it. You can wait on the timer if you want, but then you like risk fucking it up by a second or two. But yeah, follow those rules, follow the glitches, and you'll be out of guest house in 15 minutes.